Welcome, everyone, to the Family Justice Report. I'm Dale Harapat. Well, we were very encouraged by our last show. We had a number of people that watched it, and we even got some feedback. I know that it's a very difficult situation going through the family law courtroom. There's a number of reasons for it. I think that our judges seem to ad lib the law as they go along. And I believe that as a communications major, they have very poor communication skills. And I'm really question whether or not they've read the motions that are filed by attorneys and by pro se people. There's another problem, too. A number of attorneys may have never had a family in their life, or in the case of some judges, they could be homosexual, they could be women or men that have never had much experience with children, but are not because they're gay, but because they have no experience in rearing of children and spending time with a child. So if they have no experience and they have no child psychology or family development coursework to base their decisions on, they are supposed to then be basing it on the evidence and on law, which they don't, nor do they have that foundation, that knowledge to make appropriate decisions when it comes to our children. And I don't understand why criminals throughout the United States have better due process. If some little mistake is made in a criminal's case, then it can be appealed or the person can be set free. But families, our most important unit, these people are given very little, if any, due process or justice in the courtroom. And I think that's very strange. So I believe that there needs to be reforms in our court. One of the reforms that I would like to have happen is for cases to be tried by a judge, but juries would make those decisions. Such is the case in Texas now, where you do have the opportunity to have a jury make the final decision. The problem that we're having with judges is that if they violate the constitutional rights, the due process rights of parents, they are not held accountable. They have such complete discretion within the courtroom, and I think that it is too much. A Judicial Standards Commission that might exist, for instance, in the state that I live, New Mexico, is generally made up by attorneys or political appointees that very rarely are they going to even do something appropriate against an attorney in the courtroom if they have violated a parent's constitutional rights. So that's a huge problem. In each judicial district, it would be advisable that you could take a judicial decision to a citizens group that would do one thing, and one thing only. This is an idea that I've had for a number of years, where they would just gather up the facts and they would make their own separate decision, not overturning the decision, but saying that the case should be retried or not retried, but it would be retried before another judge, possibly from a different district. I believe that another important aspect even though it might be costly, is that judges should be rotated. Judges that constantly work with the same attorneys seem to make the same attorneys as the winners. So I believe that judges from outside of the district should be rotated in a basis where there could be more fairness and less favoring hometown attorneys. So these are just some ideas. And I also wanted to advise those of you that are going through the family court process, before you go, make sure that you have names and dates of experiences. So you need to keep a journal and a diary of events so that you're going to be more prepared in the courtroom. And try, above all, to not be so angry. To say exactly what you're going to say, but say it in a manner that is very controlled and neutral. Well, this is what happened, and this is what she did, or this is what he did on a certain date. I was reading a book by Jerry Spence, the famous Wyoming attorney, who I'm sure he doesn't do any family law cases, but he did say that he advised new attorneys to use some humor in the courtroom, that maybe judges would appreciate that. But these are some tips this week, and I hope that you bring people into the courtroom and that you are prepared for the real nightmare that family court is. Thank you, and I will try to do another show every week. And we appreciate the emails. You can email me at Dale at the Family Justice Report at gmail.com, or you can just email me at the Family Justice Report at gmail.com. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you watching, and good luck in your court venture and your experience.